Hi, I'm Ben Sheeran. In this short video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Quizlet and how we use it with the Fluency course and how you might want to use it with the Fluency course. So Quizlet is a website where you can upload data sets, and then students can use those data sets to study and to quiz themselves. It's a really great site. It's free to use. Although we actually pay for a subscription. I'll talk about that a bit later. So, using Quizlet with the Fluency course. This is not a central part of the Fluency course. This is a kind of add-on. It's a supplementary activity. It's basically a way to get the students to preview the vocabulary, preview some of the questions, and just get a little bit even more repetition going. The Fluency course is all about repetition. I think that is missing from most textbooks, and we're really into repetition. So Quizlet just gives us a chance to have the students see everything at least 2 or 3 more times in a different format, in a way that's not boring. Okay. So what can Quizlet do? Here's one of our sets, and down the left hand side you can actually see what we can do. Now there is this in-class live activity, and actually I just tried it today with our students. We had a lot of students absent today, so I tried this Quizlet live thing, and I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. I don't think it brings a lot to the table. I think we might do it from time to time as a novelty, but I don't think I'll be doing this regularly. However, the things below that, where the students are working on them by themselves, much more interesting. For our students, we recommend they do the flashcards activity. And the flashcards activity, you can imagine, is basically flashcards. So you have a card, and it has the English on one side, and it flips, and it has the Japanese on the back, and you can drill like this. Quizlet's pretty nice because it generates audio, so all the cards have audio as well. And that's the basic activity. So what we ask our students to do is do the flashcards activity to preview the items for the week. Level 1 of the Fluency course has 25 items in each set. There's 15 vocabulary items, and then there's 10 questions for level 1. For level 2, I think we have 20 or 30, I'd have to check. But in a similar way. And for level 3, we just have the vocabulary, so just 20 items of vocabulary for level 3. There are other things the students can do. There's a learn mode, which is similar to the flashcards, but I think it adapts. It's kind of adaptive to how the students are doing. There's a write mode, which is actually a typing mode, very difficult for most Japanese students. And then there's this spelling thing, which I think is a listening kind of thing. And then there's a couple of games. So the match at the bottom and gravity, these are games. And the nice thing about these is that students can compete with each other within their class. So they get a class ranking, and they can see how other students are doing. And our students, some of them get really into this, and they are really quick at match. So they're doing it in like 4 seconds or 4.3 seconds kind of thing. Now, the other functionality is test. And what we do with test is we ask our students to take a test. So they practice with the flashcards, and then when they finish, they take a test. And we ask them to get more than 85%. There's no limit on how many times they can take the test. So, you know, if they do it once and they get a bad score, then they just do it again and again and again. And that's fine because they're just practicing more. So it seems like cheating, but they're actually doing what we want them to. So that's it. So before class, so hopefully at home or maybe on the car on the way here, the students will use a smartphone, their parents' smartphone, their own smartphone, a tablet, whatever, and they will practice the language, and then they'll do the quiz before class. And that's what we do with Quizlet. Now, the way we organize this is for each class, we make a class on Quizlet. So this is a class, one of our classes is Cambridge, the school. Thursday, the day, and A1, so Academy Level 1. We only have one of these on Thursdays. So all the students are in this class. And then each week we upload the relevant Quizlet set. So each unit of the Fluency course has a Quizlet set assigned to it. And as a teacher, you can add these sets to your class. Now, you could just add all of them at the beginning of the year and say to students, hey, just do the one that matches the next unit in the book. But we find it easy just to upload them every week as we go. And this level, so we can select the class and we can see all the students and we can see what they've done. So what activities they've done, when they did it, what their score was on the test. There's a lot of detail in here. Now, I just found out this is a paid option, so you need to pay to use this functionality. So whether that's worth it to you is up to you. We've had a paid teacher account forever just so that we could use it without ads. But this is very useful too, this function. We can open up before class, see who's done it, see who hasn't, and the ones that haven't done it, we can lend them a tablet and say, hey, do it now before class quickly. It only takes about 2 minutes to do Quizlet, basically. So do you need a Teacher Plus account? So basically what the Teacher Plus account does, as far as I can tell, it takes the ads off for starters, and it allows you to see this class view where you can see what the students have done and so on. I find it very useful. I think it's about 3,000 yen a year for the Teacher Plus thing. So for us, it's definitely worth it. For you, depending on how many students you have, it might be worth it, it might not be worth it. You can run the entire school off one Teacher Plus account. Now, here is a little bit of a tricky thing. So to use Quizlet the way we do, where each student has their own account and they log in and they do stuff and you can see their progress, each student is going to need their own account. So they need to sign up for Quizlet. This is the sign up form. It's not particularly difficult. So they'll need a date of birth. They'll need an email address that works. They need a username and they need a password, and then don't check that I want to receive Newsbox, but do accept the terms and conditions, and that's it. And this will generate the student account, and then it's finished. Now for us, because our students are kind of 11, 12 when they start, we didn't want to ask them to do this because I kind of assumed that it would be a nightmare. We'd have to be fielding calls from parents and things, help. We can't set up the account or whatever. So basically what we do is we batch this. We make all the student accounts and then we use this form and we give the students their username, we give them their password, and this is a quick explanation of how Quizlet works. So in order to do this, the main sticking point is the email address. You need a valid email address that you can confirm. So the way we get around this is our domain. Any email address at our domain is valid, and I get those emails to my account. So I can make their username at our school's domain and make them that way. And I can make these very quickly. It takes about a minute to make each account. I need to make about 60 or 70 per year, new ones. So, it takes me a couple of hours probably for the whole, at the beginning of the year to get ready. Once a student has an account, they can use it forever. So that's fine. So yeah, I recommend making, I'm pretty sure this is against the terms and conditions. I'm sure Quizlet doesn't want me to do this, but it just seemed like the best way to approach it. Of course, you can give the students instructions and say, hey, make your own account. But the problem with that is then we haven't got the login information. So we need to help students who've forgotten their password or whatever. So if we make the passwords in the first place, that makes it a lot easier. And then we'll make this kind of handout for all the students, which basically is, this is Quizlet, here's how you use it, these are the settings we want you to use, and so on. However, that's not enough to get the students up and running with Quizlet. So before we even mention Quizlet, before I give them this paper, we do Quizlet in class. So the first class, I'll start Quizlet up, I'll put it up on the screen, and I will demonstrate flashcards, and I will demonstrate the test. And we'll all do it together as a group. So for the flashcards activity, what I want them to do is they'll see the English, they'll hear the English. I want them to repeat. So in this case, it would be many. So they say many, and you get many. And then I want them to stop, and I want them to think, do I know this word? And if so, what is it in Japanese? And only after they've thought about it, I want them to flip and either check to see if they were right, or look at it for the first time if they didn't know the word. But that stopping and thinking is really important, that step there. Once they've seen it, they'll be say takusan, and obviously don't repeat the Japanese because you don't need to. And then I encourage them to go back to the English again, right? So they go back to many and then many. So see the English, repeat the English, many, think about the Japanese, guess, flip it, confirm or learn for the first time, and then go back to the English, many. And then after that, you can go to the next flashcard and do the same thing. And once you finish flashcards, if you're happy, you can then go on to the test. And again, for the test, we want to choose these options. So we want to choose multiple choice for the question types, because typing in the answers is not something that most junior high school students are good at. It takes too long. Match is too easy. And true false is also too easy. Maru batsu is too easy. So we do the multiple choice ones. Generally speaking, having the answers in Japanese is easier. So they see the English as the question, and then the answers are Japanese. So that's easier. It's more difficult if you choose English as the answer. So they'll see the Japanese, they've got to choose the English. It's marginally more difficult. Or you can have a mix, and that's up to them, but I encourage them to start with Japanese as the answer. And we want to choose 25 items because the default is 20, and that means that they miss out on 5 of them. So we want them to see all the items when they do the quiz. And that's it. So that's the quiz settings. And we'll ask them to do that when they do the quiz. So we'll do this in class as a group, and then, only then, will we give them their paper here. And we'll say, here's your stuff. Try and do it at home. If you have trouble, we'll help you next week. And we kind of ease them into it that way. Recently, a lot of our first year junior high school students have smartphones. That wasn't the case when we started doing this, but it's certainly accelerating. So in that case, they can do it themselves on their own phone. There is an app that you can load, or you can do it through a browser, and both of those are fine. So yeah, that's Quizlet basically. If you have any questions about this, please do leave a question in the comments, and I'll see that and try and help. Or you can come to our Facebook group, which is where all the cool teachers hang out. If you want to learn more about the course, you can come to our website or keep watching these videos.